The locals called it the Psychic Cafe Izumi, and it was known to be especially creepy. One popular rumor that she wanted to check out for herself was whether the color of the letters on the sign really did change from day to day. But mostly, she just really wanted to see the place. She was more curious than scared, so she decided to go with a friend and her friend's older sister. They arrived well after midnight, and her friend's sister decided to stay in the car while they went inside. She wasn't especially interested in looking around, and if they needed to make a quick getaway, it would be better if someone was already in the car. As they stepped into the abandoned building, a cold air settled over them. It looked just like a cafe, but now the tables and chairs were lying around everywhere. The place was a mess. But as they walked around, not finding anything particularly scary or even strange, suddenly her friend's phone rang. It was from her sister waiting outside. Yet as soon as she answered the phone, it hung up. Worried, the pair ran back outside. When they reached the car, her friend's sister looked up at them in surprise. They asked her about the strange call she'd just made, but she said she did no such thing. She showed them her phone, and there was nothing in the phone's call history either. Her friend's phone showed a call coming from her older sister, yet her sister's phone showed nothing. It was weird. Too weird. Suddenly scared, the girls got in the car and decided to go straight home. And although nothing happened to her after that, she heard that after their visit to the abandoned cafe, fans started turning on in her friend's house despite not being plugged in, and books often fell off the shelf of their own accord. More and more strange things started to happen, night after night, until her friend and her sister went to get cleansed. But the night before the cleansing, her friend dreamt of a strange woman who appeared at her house before suddenly jumping off her balcony. Her friend suspected that the woman ran away because she knew of the cleansing ceremony that was to take place the following day. Cafe Izumi, or as it's sometimes called by locals, Psychic Cafe Izumi, is a now abandoned cafe on Miyako Island in Okinawa. It's believed to have opened in the 1970s, although nobody is quite sure exactly when. The two-story concrete building was open for several decades, before closing sometime in the late 1990s. But again, the exact date of its closure is unknown. Naturally, this long-abandoned building, seemingly in the middle of nowhere and being reclaimed by nature, soon became the target of supernatural rumors. And once it appeared on Inagawa Junji's Kyofu no Gemba, terrifying location series, it became even more famous all over Japan. Some of the more common stories told about the building suggest that the owner disappeared and then his wife took her own life, and that if you enter the now abandoned cafe, you might have strange dreams after. This often involves a mysterious woman, but Miyagawa Daisuke, a comedian who visited the site and drank coffee there for the April 16th, 2018 episode of Uwasa no Gemba Chokko Document Ganmi Special, reported that after he returned home, he had a strange dream about a large number of dolphins who died. What connection this has to the building is unknown. And on an interesting note, this same show also called Cafe Izumi the scariest cafe in all of Japan. It was reported that after Miyagawa visited the site, it got even more popular, and so many people visited and trashed the building that it had to be made off limits. If you go there today, you will be trespassing and subject to the relevant punishment. Another rumor suggests that the letters on the cafe's sign can change from day to day. Of course, the area is off limits, and nobody is up there changing these things on a day-to-day basis. But if you do check daily, then this is supposedly something you will notice. There are also rumors that if you visit the cafe, then soon after, you might go missing. This possibly stems from the fact that the owner himself is reported to have gone missing, and then his wife killed herself after. One story tells of a group of friends who visited the cafe for a test of courage, and then never returned, strengthening the idea that this isn't a place you should visit if you want to safely return home again. Yet another rumor says that if you explore the abandoned cafe, you might hear the sound of a child laughing. Of course, the building is abandoned and off limits, and no children live nearby. Yet, you can still hear laughter, and maybe even find clothes hanging out to dry. People have suggested that it's the child of the owner who disappeared and the wife. But whether the child is still alive or now a ghost haunting the building is unknown. Word has it that after the original owner supposedly disappeared, ownership of the cafe changed hands, but it never opened again. It's that new owner who still owns the land today and made it private property after the increase of visitors after the television program that featured it. But solid details about who actually owns it, when it closed, and why remains unknown. Locals reportedly say that the cafe simply wasn't in a good location, as it sits on the path of water in Kamisama. There is supposedly a well on the cafe grounds, and it is oddly greener and more lush than the surrounding areas. This might also be a reason for the many people who apparently go missing here. If you upset the Kamisama who also pass through the area, then they might spirit you away. This water connection may also be why comedian Miyagawa dreamt about dolphins. But in the end, nobody knows. At the end of the day, Cafe Izumi is private property that remains off limits. And, if you believe the rumors, locals are so afraid that even if they hear you screaming there late at night, they won't rush to help. But either way, it's best to leave it be, because if the spirits don't get you, the fines for trespassing will. But what did you guys think of this one? Do you have any similar stories where you're from? Let me know in the comments below, and if you'd like to help support this channel so you can see more content like this, please consider hitting that join button down below as well. Every bit of support really helps. Thanks guys, and I'll see you again next time.